So last game, the 76ers played, and reports of an altercation between a player and a reporter came out, and the player ended up being Joel Embiid. Hold on. All right. Shams tweeted out, 76ers Joel Embiid got into an altercation with a columnist following tonight's game in Philadelphia. Joel Embiid took issue with a recent column that referenced his late brother and son, and Joel Embiid shoved the columnist. No punch. And you can see in the reply right there, the reporter brought up his dead brother, 100% deserved in my opinion. And let's go ahead and read this excerpt from the article. So he says, Joel Embiid consistently points to the birth of his son, Arthur, as the major inflection point in his basketball career. He often says that he wants to be great to leave a legacy for the boy named after his little brother who tragically died in an automobile accident when Embiid was in his first year as a 76er. Well, that's a crazy, okay. Well, in order to be great at your job, you first have to show up for work. Embiid has been great at just the opposite. Now, in his 11th season, he consistently has been in poor condition. This poor conditioning apparently seems to have delayed his debut this season. Embiid won't play in Wednesday's opener or the next 2 games. Now, on top of this, the 76ers and Joel Embiid, or not the 76ers and Joel Embiid, but Joel Embiid has just made a couple of comments in this season so far addressing the media. More specifically, Damo, if you want to bring up that first tweet from earlier, this is what he had to say. And this is from the night before the altercation. This is what he had to say about just how he feels about the city of Philadelphia and how he's being treated.
When was it decided between the Olympics and today that you would be taking this approach and missing these games to start the season?
It was never decided. Like I said, everybody has been on the same page. If your body doesn't react well, and if your body tells you one thing, and I've done it. From what I can tell you, I've broken my face twice. I came back early with the risk of losing my vision. Had broken fingers. I still came back. So I'm not gonna sit here and be when I see people saying he doesn't want to play. I've been way too much. I've done way too much, for this city, and putting myself at risk, for people to be saying that. So I do think it's bullshit. Like that dude, he's not here. Marcus, whatever his name is. I've done way too much for this fucking city to be treated like this. So done way too fucking much. But like I said, I wish I was as lucky as other ones, but that doesn't mean that I'm not trying and I'm not doing whatever it takes to be out there, which I'm gonna be here pretty soon.
In the last couple weeks, when you have...
All right, that's really it for real.
So the audio wasn't fully clear, but just to quote Joel Embiid, long story short, he says, I've done way too much for this fucking city to be treated like this, referring to the article written by Bro the night prior, and then I believe the night of is when they got into an altercation and Embiid shoved the columnist. So now that we did get context as to what was said in the article, Damo, do you feel like Embiid's reaction was just, or is this just a journalist being a journalist and relax on pure journalism?
No, Joel Embiid's reaction was 150% just, and in my opinion, he should have did more. He didn't do enough. I did a lot more than swinging for bringing up my child and a deceased relative just to make your point about me needing to play more. Like, what are we talking? That well was so crazy. You said it when you were reading it. That well was insane after all the pavement you just paved with this man's family. And a well, but actually, if you want to be great, you got to get out there and play. That's disgusting. That's disgusting work. He deserved to be punched in the face in all actuality. But I will say, they're not absolved from criticism. Like, I don't think that the journalists went too far by saying that he needs to get his ass on the court and needs to show that he wants to play. but the way he went about it was just disgusting.
Yeah, one thing and we talked about this at length on the pod this year. The whole tone policing, anti-tone policing shit movement was dumb in the first place. I think there is definitely a way to get, honestly, whatever point you want. You just gotta present it properly. You gotta have some decorum with how you present things. And depending on how you present shit, you can have a civilized discussion, right? Because essentially his point here is just, for Embiid to be great, I'm sorry, we can't just talk about what Embiid does when he's on the court. He has to be on the court, right? Like, health is a concern for him. It is a concern for this franchise as they're building around Joel Embiid. And I think that's a valid conversation to have. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But when you deliver it in this manner, talking about his son, talking about his deceased brother, and talking about, well, if he actually cared about, his dead brother's legacy, then he'd work on his conditioning and stop eating fucking donuts. Like, I know that's not exactly what he said, but that's what I'm saying when it comes to, like, delivery matters.
That's basically what he said.
That's basically what he said too. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, honestly, don't gotta look too far into it. He basically called him a bitch. For real. He basically called him a bitch and said, hey, you want to be a good role model for your son, but you a bitch. And expected Joel not to want to punch him in the face. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's one thing I've also learned this year is just, man, it is so easy to hide behind, like, anonymity when it comes to these journalists. And I'm not gonna lie, they have more balls than us, because the likelihood of Joel Embiid like reading a local Philly columnist article is way higher than like us just saying Russ's ass. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie, especially as I've been in the conversations that I've been recently with my new position. I'm just like, damn, I really gotta I can't just be saying that this wild ass shit, man, because delivery does matter. Like, I think, you can say someone's overrated, but to just say their ass and call them out their name, that's one thing I definitely worked on this year. Damo, I don't know if you don't care about that shit, but
regress, man. You need to regress. At the end of the day, I can't call you ass if you're not being ass. If you show me ass, what am I supposed to say? It's stomach? No, it's ass. I'm not gonna lie. So I get it. Hey, clean. I get the movement. Clean it up a little bit. We don't gotta be so disrespectful. Omar be preaching the same stuff. We don't gotta be so disrespectful when we talking about these players. And I feel you. But then I get on the timeline and I see how Chad be talking about Damian Lillard. And it just made me want to hate. Maybe I'm just wired differently, man. I can't do it.
Hey, you listening in the background, come here real quick. I've got an offer for you from PrizePicks.com, the favorite daily fantasy sports platform for the Let's Keep It a Buck podcast.
Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players is what makes PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app.
And we're going to show you how to make our Prize Picks right now. Ever since Kirk Cousins touched down in the A, he's been playing my way. I've got Kirk Cousins and passing yards going for the more every single week. And our crosstown rivals can never get any love from me, so I'm taking less on anything Alvin Kamara related. Rushing yards, give me less, B-Souls.
We're going to go ahead and put $10 on this lineup, click submit lineup, and boom, that is how you make a lineup on PrizePicks. Go to PrizePicks.com and use code LKIB to receive a guaranteed $50 once you place a $5 lineup.
Remember, that's code LKIB on PrizePicks, and tell them Omeezy sent you.
Yeah, no, I think the 76ers are definitely... My God, it's like the Suns last year. Like, I really wanted to be optimistic. This is they can't be unhealthy again this year. Paul George gets injured in the preseason, and then Joel Embiid can't even play back-to-backs. And then he's not. Has he played? He hasn't played yet, right?
He hasn't played the season yet. No,
he hasn't played the season. Like, again, I'm not saying that as a justification for what the columnist said. But my God, the 76ers are just they're just in a lot of mess in this season. And I do think that primarily has to do with who is the guy they're building around. I think that is one thing certain teams need to realize is that, bro, you can have all these surrounding pieces, But at the end of the day, you are building around a dude with glass knees that averages 35 points a game. And you don't know if those 35 points a game are going to be there on a night in, night out basis. So
I've been saying it. I said it a minute ago. I'm out on the 76ers and the Joel Embiid experiment. It has officially been 10 years. This will be the 11th year he's been an NBA player, and he's been dealing with ailments and injuries consistently. He has not had one healthy season. So this is the norm for him. This is who he is, what he is. He came into the league, this injury-prone guy, and that's who he is. Great, phenomenal talent. And I understand why the Sixers want to keep him on the team, but I've been saying it. You need to build this team with the mindset of, what if Joel's not here? You keep getting players that are Joel dependent. You don't need that. So going to get Paul George, I knew it was a flop. Y'all got Tobias Harris. I knew you've been flopping. Y'all, I've recognized those colors. I've seen it my whole life. That red, blue, and white. You just the Clippers on the East Coast, man. You're just the Clippers on the East Coast.
that is crazy. Now, again, we're not justifying what the columnist said, but I do want to ask you with Joel Embiid, because one of the parts of his quote was, "I've done way too much for this fucking city to be treated like this." What do you think is the line where the criticism should like what is the line for criticism where it's like, okay, y'all are doing too much, and like, okay, this is valid criticism when it comes to
whenever it's steering away from them playing basketball or being on the court, or something that's detrimental to their career, for real. If I'm talking about a basketball player's performance, if we're talking about Joel Embiid not being on the court, what does his son or his dead brother have to do with anything? He's a brother of 10 plus years at this point, right? Like, his first year in the NBA was 2014, so 10 years. His dead brother of 10 years and his son. What do they have to do with any point you're trying to make? So when it exceeds that line, when it crosses that line, that's where it gets nasty. I'm all for giving players criticism when you're criticizing their game and you're keeping it in basketball. The moment it's not basketball, the moment I feel like you're doing too much.
Yeah. Also, one thing I've definitely shown more or seen more appreciation with, especially with how some of these other stars have been talking, and we'll get into that maybe even in a different pod. Like, when you look at Embiid's career, he has really embraced the city of Philadelphia, and you've never heard trade requests for real. He's always been solid. We gonna win one in Philly. All these different things. When you talk about other players in the league, you just can't say that. So, we have all these discussions about who's better than who. I'm not gonna lie, those conversations mean less and less to me every single day. To me, reliability matters. And I understand Embiid is on the other side of that, but reliability matters. The fact that you can just count on this player to be a solid rock foundation for your team. You don't got to worry about him, threatening for trade requests year in and year out. Those things matter, bro. And I think Embiid, to me, he has done way too much for that city to be getting treated like this. So,
B-Souls, I ain't gonna lie, man. Drop your nuts and say the name, man. We done with the Giannis's, man. We done with the Antetokounmpos, man. We done with the divas. We want guys that are for the city for real, not this fake humble crap. Not this faking it for the grind, faking it for the love of the game. It's ironic that Dame ended up on his team. Just saying, but we done with that. Say the name.
Fuck it, I'll put my nuts on the table, man. We done with Giannis, man. Stop it. We done with these. We're not doing enough. So if we're not competing, I'm gonna ask for a trade. Man, all of this was your fault. all of this talking about if we don't make a move this offseason, yeah, I might have to dip out. They made the moves. You didn't like the moves. They didn't work out, but they made the moves, buddy. So you got the changes you wanted. You didn't like them, and now you're still complaining.
B-So, let me ask. Serious question. Giannis or AD so far this season? Who's better?
AD. Hey. Solid rock. Hey, shout out to AD too, man. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to players who just don't complain. Yeah, they get injured, but you You know who you got. You know what I'm saying? You know who the rock of your team is. Shout out to I don't know about LeBron, but AD, yeah, he shows up. He shows up to work, man. You can the thing you gotta all you gotta worry about AD is just the basketball things. And if that's the only thing you gotta worry about, I'm not gonna lie, that's a good thing to me.
The only time you've heard anything about Anthony Davis is when he was trying to get out of a city. And we have all learned over the years, anytime you're trying to get out of a city, they are going to try to make you look like a villain. A lot of these players, when they force themselves out of places, you hear about things lingering. You hear about things when they go to the next destination or just anything. You hear about it. Coincidentally, you ain't heard one thing about Anthony Davis on the Lakers, a LeBron
on the
Lakers
Lakers.
of all places, a LeBron-led Laker team. You ain't heard 1 ounce of diva activity. The only thing he's done wrong is lie to Westbrook, but LeBron did too. At that point, LeBron gonna lie. What you gonna do? Not lie? I'm gonna lie too. LeBron lying? Why not? Other than that, stand up, God, man. Stand up, brow, big brow.
Yeah, man, we're done with the Portland Dames of the world, like that roller coaster. He put Portland through that last year. We're done with the James Hardens of the world. We're done with the Giannis's. New Orleans AD that last year. I was done with that too. I'm like, God damn, we're just not gonna play. Okay. The Kevin Durant's of the world.